This is Scott Collins, class of 2002.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Today's conversation with Scott is brought to us in part through the ongoing support of 2008 graduate Matt Cox and his company Saucetown Properties. If you or anyone you know have a house you want to sell, or if you are just looking to dip your toes into investing and understanding the world of real estate, check out the Saucetown Investor blog and podcast to hear directly from Matt and his team. Or you can also go to saucetownproperties.net to get more information today. And today we are joined by 2002 Saxon graduate Scott Collins. Scott's best memories at South were full of showing up with a great group of friends to all the sports events. Scott played hoops while at South and loved a lot of his classes, including a love-hate relationship with our public speaking course. After graduating South, he went to Oregon State University where he studied business management. And after OSU, he followed his wife, shout out to Dr. Collins, through medical school and cared for their 3 children and their lovely dog, Shauna, as a stay-at-home dad for 7 years. He's recently back in the workforce and now works as a real estate agent in the greater Salem area, focusing his energy mostly on those who serve us by partnering with Homes for Heroes. Scott's here live with us here at South today, and we're so excited to share out his story. Scott, welcome to your time in the spotlight. Man, it is so good to connect with you.
Thank you very much for having me. I was a little questioning you invited me. I've seen this list of people that you've brought on, and I'm like, where do I fit in? And I was trying to think of how I can, best be a part of this, but I am honored that you invited me here. It's fun to come back to South and just see my old stomping grounds. And hopefully I can impart some wisdom about the things I've been up to since graduation.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so excited about, knowing you for the last 4 years. You and I have lived our lives kind of interlapped and integrated really because of our kids and sport. So just excited for others to get to know you and to hear the heart that you have for this community and especially for your family. So let's work a little bit in reverse. What are you doing these days? Maybe start with what you're doing with Homes for Heroes. Tell us about that.
So late last year, I started as a real estate agent with HomeSmart Realty Group. And I actually got connected with them through another agent. But my mentor, who is Molly Edwards, and she is a South Salem high school. She graduated and she was a teacher here for, I think, about 10 years. And then she switched over to real estate agency. So she has been a huge part of that. But this last 6 weeks or so, I was made aware of a program called Homes for Heroes. It's a national program. And the idea behind it really is giving back to those that serve us. So there's 5 categories of people that qualify for it. So it includes military, law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, healthcare professionals, and then teachers. My wife's in the healthcare industry, so that was a big pull as to why I wanted to be a part of it in the first place. But then I just feel like that's going to fulfill me doing the real estate. I like connecting with people. I like talking with people, but if I can give back in a financial way, that's great. My kind of goal with real estate is to give back more than I take. And that is not always easy. So I think this is a really good start for me as I beginning my real estate career. If I can give back and it feels really good, then I know it's going to feel really good for the people that that serve me. I can serve them a little bit.
I don't know a ton about the real estate industry, but what I do know is that you really have to distinguish yourself. Scott, for you, I'm wondering, what is it that sets you apart? What is it that's different about you? If a client is reaching out to you, how are you differentiating yourself from the rest of the agents in your industry?
Actually, we just talked about this in a meeting last week. And the question is what in a year from now in your real estate career, what do you want to be known for? So for me, integrity is key. Working with integrity with my clients or other brokers and their clients and making sure that everything's done above board. And obviously the other piece of it is just to have fun with it. I enjoy what I do. I like talking with people. My wife definitely knows that I talk too much sometimes. So maybe this is like a perfect career field for me. So yeah, I think for me though, it's just doing things the right way but also obviously taking care of my clients at the same time.
Man, I love that. Talk to us about your 4 years here at South. What were those like?
So I drive up today to come in here to talk with you, and I see the front of the school, and I drive by it periodically, but today it kind of hit differently. So this is kind of maybe me in a nutshell. I wasn't like most academically strong. I did fine, but it was never a huge priority. Senior class picture out in front of the school. I know they announced it. I'm sure they said, hey, be here after period, whatever. And I may have been off campus during that period, perhaps. allegedly. So in my yearbook, senior class photo, you can see me coming in on the right-hand side in like a dead run, and I'm in the photo. And I'm sure my parents were so proud when I explained to them why I was in mid jog getting to a senior. I had a good time at South. I learned a lot about myself. I got prepared for school. I went to Oregon State after graduating. I had some classes that I think really benefited me. And I know you mentioned my speech or my communications class. So that one has stuck with me for a long time. In fact, it's one I've reverted back to as I navigate my life. So I'll give you the story for that one. So I think I'm a sophomore. I signed up for this elective class, and it was my math teacher was also doing this class. And I was like, yeah, this will be great. I'm goofy and silly with my friends. It was, I had a film class. We'd go and do like stunts and pranks around class and film it and edit it and all that. So that was great, right? So like, this will be fun. And I walk in as a sophomore, and it's like juniors and seniors, and I'm just immediately terrified. My bravery, my courage went down pretty quickly. So one of the first assignments, like week 2, he gives us this stack of paper. It's like improvised speech in front of class. And I picked this one, and it's pretty challenging. It's like 50 different scenarios, and you've got to be a news reporter. So like, you've got to be a news reporter at a sports event. You've got to be a news reporter, on top of a roof or whatever. And so in my head, I'm thinking, I got this. Like, I can do this. And I get up there, and I think I delivered the most like flat affect. And like, you look out and you're bombing. You see the class of upperclassmen, and they're embarrassed for me. And I'm like, oh, I could just. So my teacher walks up, and I'll never forget this. And he kind of grabs the paper, not in any way, didn't make any comments. And he kind of looks through it, and he picks one out. And he goes, "You're a news reporter in a helicopter." And he goes, "Hey, maybe you could try something like this." And he gets up there, and he's like, "Reporting live in Channel 7. And he starts hitting his chest like the rotors are going. And I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. And it was the most disarming thing that he could have done. He could have made a snide joke. He could have put me on blast. But what I realized in that moment, and I've taken that away with me, is that the people in the audience and my teacher, or if it's an interview for a job, they want you to do well. They don't want to sit in your discomfort. They want to see you succeed. And so what could have been the most embarrassing thing of that day or that week or that year, or even my high school career for that matter, actually turned into something that has stuck with me as a positive. And I've done lots of speeches in college classes, and I've done lots of interviews with my career. And I think to myself, they want me to do well. Doesn't mean I always do my best, but I know that there's encouragement on that side. So the people that you surround yourself in your life, if they're not with that mindset, then probably you need to find another group. But that was really big for me, and it was so simple, and it could have gone way worse.
Man, what a gift, especially in a class like public speaking. So then you go to Oregon State, you graduate from South, you go to Oregon State, you spend your 4 years there studying business. Was that something that you had always determined was going to be your plan? Did you know that Becca was part of your future at that point? What was that all like?
So I went to Oregon State not having a clue of what I wanted to do for a career. I thought I had an idea, but it was very vague. And I look back on those times, and I think there's a lot of positives. But if I were to do it all over again, honestly, I would look at, I see the trades. I see a lot of small business owners, local businesses that are doing very well for themselves, both community minded and also business minded. So while I don't regret going to Oregon State, I do think that more of our youth looking at electrical school, like electricians, plumbing, HVAC, I've seen a lot of people do some amazing things. And I think that's always going to be a need. So I think I mentioned that to my dad. And he was like, well, very expensive lesson going to Oregon State. And I don't regret that. And I appreciate all those things. But I do think there's a lot of value in exploring all options. Even if you think, hey, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to go to college after. What I would encourage kids now that are approaching graduation is to open up all those doors, take a look. It may or may not be a fit for you, but really do a deep dive on some of those things that perk your interest. Because you might find a really good career out of it, or something that makes you feel really good helping other people. You don't always have to go the status quo just because your friends are doing it. So that's what I would encourage. Just do a little more self-exploration at an early age. And also, it's just never too late. So for me, I have no experience in real estate other than my own personal dealings and then, having a desire to do it. But so even in your 40s, you can still make shifts, seismic shifts, and find a lot of happiness. So yeah, so then after Oregon State, I got a job in the auto industry and it was very unfulfilling. And then my girlfriend, now wife, she approached me with a very simple question. I'm probably going to go to medical school. I'm going to medical school. I'm probably going to be going to Omaha, Nebraska. We've been dating for at that point, and she'll correct me if I'm wrong, 8 months maybe. Are you in or out? She's like, if you're out, then I think we're done because this is my career path. I'm very driven on that. But if you're in, then let's go. So yeah, I think I took maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and I was like, yeah, I'm in. Let's go. So I moved to Omaha, shifted my career, did retail, worked for Target, and the medical school for her was also very valuable for me. So Omaha is not going to hire me to be their tourism spokesperson. Omaha is a great place to visit, um, especially when the Beavs show up for the college facilities, which we were there for 4 years and they didn't show up one single time, but then they showed up the year after. But that experience for me was massive. I met people from diverse backgrounds all across the country, seeing these valedictorians from high school, these high achievers in college, watching them struggle through the most challenging 4 years of their life and seeing them firsthand deal with adversity, maybe for the first time or not. Maybe they've dealt with adversity all the way through getting to this point, fighting and clawing to get into medical school. So I got to see and hear a lot of amazing stories. It changed my perspective. It made me feel small in this world in the best possible way. So I love my time in Omaha for that. But shame on you, Beeves, for not showing up when I was there. So then we moved to Denver. My wife did residency there, and that was another chapter of our life. It was like the hardest time in my life. But we had a kid in med school. We had a daughter there. We had another daughter in Colorado, and we're in Denver. So we had two kids working full time. My wife's in residency, I mean, working her tail off. But the one thing that we learned about ourselves as a relationship is that we can do things on our own. We can be independent. We can still thrive and be happy. And so my wife and I look back at those times as, yeah, they were super challenging, but we were stronger from it. I think it gave us a little bit of relationship swagger. It gave us confidence to say, hey, we can go anywhere in this world and we can be okay. We can make do with time and ourselves, but like be really happy still. And so that piece for me was monumental. I think our relationship has just continued to build off that. So after Denver, we moved back to Salem. She's been practicing medicine here, and she started, kind of a side business, an offshoot of her healthcare, and it's like easy to support. I'm like, yep, let's do it. It'll add some stuff to our schedule, but hey, I know we can handle this. So I think that those 4 years in Denver were really beneficial. So we both feel empowered to take chances or take leaps, and we've got each other's back, and we can definitely balance it all.
I mean, in the 4 years that I've known you, I can testify to that that capacity that you both have and that you are both these go-getters, hard chargers. You also embrace this idea, like the family unit is so important, and it's something I've admired in both of you, but especially just watching you be a dad. What does that what does that term dad mean to you? I mean, you embody it in every definition of that word. Scott, what does being a dad mean to you? And how have you found your role in that part of your relationship with Becca, but also most importantly with your kids?
Yeah. So that's a big question. So, I mean, to preface it, my wife gave me the gift of time with my kids. So we moved back to Salem. It was always kind of the agenda of she's going to pursue her career, especially early on with our kids' lives. Because I forgot to mention we had a third kid in Oregon. So wherever we moved from state to state, we have kids. So we're going to stay here for a while. So she gave me that gift of time. So stay-at-home dad. I got to really be a big fixture in my kids' lives. So that relationship building and bonding with my daughters and my son has been massive. And I think just being present and wanting to be present. But that's not to say like the first couple of years were tough. It was right with COVID. So you're kind of shelter in place. And I'll be the first to admit those first couple of years were really hard trying to kind of find my groove. Even outside of COVID, there was definitely some struggles, and finding proper outlets is pretty critical. And wasn't always the best from like a mental health standpoint, but I think kind of The last 4 or 5 years of being a stay at home were really overall overwhelmingly positive. But being a dad is being present, being attentive, listening, showing up when they need to, shutting up when you need to. I'm still learning that one. I've got my 12-year-old's nearly 13. I think she's been 17 for a while. And she definitely keeps me on my heels. And I think just being open to learning, being open to making mistakes, not being defensive or justifying. Sometimes you just take they'll dish out the life lessons. You may not realize it in the moment, but sometimes you just got to stop and listen to them. And yeah, I mean, I can't stress enough. Just be there for your kids in whatever capacity. I got the gift of time as a stay-at-home dad, and I know that that's not something that families have the ability to do. So even if it's time before or after school or on weekends when you've got slivers of time, just be there and be present. I think the kids as they just enjoy the moments with you. And I think sometimes we get lost in our stressors in life and we start thinking about what's next or what are we making for dinner or, I got to, coordinate these rides. And it's like maybe you only have 10, 15, 20 minutes. It's like drop what you're doing and just listen and talk with them and engage with your family. And it looks different for everybody. And sometimes it's easier said than done, but it's so fleeting. I look back and I've got nearly a 13-year-old and I'm like, I think 5 years left. So I'm trying my best, even with taking on a new career and really enjoying it, to make sure that I'm creating space and time to continue to build on the relationship that I have and never take it for granted, never rest on it because things change. Their brains are developing and changing, their perspectives, they're finding their voice. And I just want to be there a part of it because it's a lot of fun.
So true. And watching you both embrace that, it's been such a joy. And again, something that we admire so much, both Allie and I do. So keep it up. And that leads us to our big three questions, Scott. Today's big three questions are brought to us through the support of the Saxon Success Fund. The Saxon Success Fund is a nonprofit organization. For anyone who has not heard this already, it's a nonprofit organization that raises money to invest in our school and our students through capital improvement projects, college scholarships, all with the goal and the purpose to transform South Salem High School from one of the best schools in the state to one of the best schools in the nation. And again, we want to thank our many, many alumni and our Saxon community supporters. And if anyone else wants to get involved, if our listeners who are new today would like to get involved, they can go to saxonsuccessfund.org for more information. Again, that's saxonsuccessfund.org. So, Scott, question one, knowing who you are today, where you are at in life, this new job, all that you've got going on, what or who helped you most get to this part?
I mean, I think I give a lot of credit to my wife. She's pushed me in all the right ways to push me out of my comfort zone, take risks with support, and just kind of be that like solid voice of reason. And I give my wife a lot of credit, and I appreciate everything that she's done and provided for me personally.
Speak a little bit about the side hustle that she's got going on and just all the details about it.
So she's an OBGYN out of Salem Clinic here in Salem. And she felt, and there is a big need for postpartum women's health care. And she has created this really amazing program. It's a book that you can purchase on her website. And it basically is mental, physical, nutrition, all the things that you go through as a woman postpartum, and it is very comprehensive. And she created it out of not only need, but like true love and care. Like she's a fantastic provider, bedside manner through the roof. She truly cares. And so what she's trying to do is really just create an environment where women can come, get some information they need, have access to a physician, ask those questions. And it's a great program. I highly recommend checking it out. If even as a gift too, I mean, it's a great thing. So that's her side hustle. And I'm the shipping manager. So if you do buy it, I will slap a label on it and send it out.
She's not a Saxon alumni, but this is the second time, Scott, she's been mentioned on this podcast. First time, shout out Anna Ernst for working with Dr. Collins as well as a nurse. So I'm curious, let's give Becca an honorary Saxon degree here, and let's give her a little bit of a plug. What's that website if anyone is interested in supporting or reaching out, finding out more information? Where can they go to get that?
It's thrivingpostpartum.org.
thrivingpostpartum.org. Okay, question 2. Got what's one piece of advice you would give your former high school self?
I'll put myself on repeat, but open up those doors. It's free to explore. It's free to ask questions. Use your network of people. Use resources such as yourself, and find out more. If something perks your interest, um, I don't dismiss it.
Yeah.
Really kind of scratch that itch and find out. And you might make some mistakes and have some missteps, um, but maybe go after something that is a little unorthodox. But again, like I said, it's free to ask questions. It's free to explore. Open up those doors and see what's on the other side. And um, uh, yeah, and have some fun.
Yeah, it's a powerful message. Question 3. If you could transform this place or public education as you know it in any one way, what do you think would be important to add, transform, adjust?
Hmm. I mean, I think wishful thinking, as look at our current state of education, is manageable class sizes. I see that being a major struggle with our teachers, and not just this school district. I see that statewide, countrywide, in certain areas. So finding a way where we can get teachers the time. I think they want to have that impact. And I think they find it a struggle to balance all the different personalities and needs. And those things seem to be growing, and our classroom sizes seem to be growing as well. And that makes their job very challenging. So, I think that if that were, uh, and I'm sure it's a priority, but if I had my magic wand, I think a lot of teachers would probably agree. If they had a little bit more dedicated time with less noise going on in a classroom, they would be really able to have a much more positive impact.
You mentioned mental health being something super important to you. Speak on that. What
Mm.
do you want, especially high school students or anyone listening to know? What would be important for them to know about mental health?
Oh, that's a good question. That my own personal experiences. I mean, my recommendation is don't hold things in. Get them out. Find an outlet, whether that's talk therapy with a professional, or talking about things that you're struggling with your friends. Don't stuff and bottle that stuff in. That's something that I've done a really good job at over the years. And even this last like 12 to 18 months has been significantly transformative on how I approach my own mental health and talking through things. And I went and saw a counselor this last year for the first time in like 30 plus years. And it was amazing. And I don't see that person regularly,
Yeah, yeah.
but I did for a little while. And man, I'll tell you, it really changed how I deal with my day-to-day problems, how I deal with relationships, whether it's my marital relationship or just friendships. So my encourage is just to get it out there and talk. I will tell you, you feel a million times lighter once you just get it out. Even if you're not given direct solution, you're just airing out what you're feeling or your problems or your struggles. Just get it out and talk. And then a lot of other things will fall into place because of that. But if you don't bring it up and you stuff it down, it just starts to boil over and it comes out in a lot of unhealthy ways. So that's my biggest encouragement with mental health is, don't push it aside, make it a priority.
You for that message too. I know I'm biased being in the field, but I see it every day with students. I see it with my own life personally, with those I love and care about. That how important therapy is, and like you said, just putting it out into the open
Yeah.
can can help so much. Well, it's close, Scott. Let's close with our rapid fire questions.
Uh,
And these ones are brought to us by another Saxon, Dr. Corey Bickler at Bickler Dentistry. And at Bickler Dentistry, your experience is comfortable, it's personalized, it's stress free. Whether you need a routine clean or advanced restorative treatment, the team at Bickler uses the latest technology to keep your smile healthy and your smile confident. Favorite TV show or movie, Scott?
Step Brothers. I named a dog after Dale Doback. Step Brothers.
So good. Favorite spot to eat if you are when you're in Salem?
Oh, Sushi Komi, conveyor belt sushi, right by Big Five. They know me by name.
Favorite thing to do outside of being a real estate agent and a dad?
I'm still fairly competitive. And so I suit up with my cleats Tuesday nights and I go play old man softball down at Wallace Marine. And we've won a few of our divisions, and I've given myself a concussion, and I've had some strains and pains, and I love it. It's a group of guys I love being around. But yeah, so I mean, and again, that's take the time to do some stuff that scratches your own itches. And for me, I still like hammering that softball around.
Any last shout outs you want to give?
Man, well, I mean, I have to shout out my sisters who both went here to South, played basketball among other things. Yeah, I mean, I'd say anybody from my class of '02, I'm still friends with a big core of those people I went to school with, and I'm thankful every day they're in my life. The friends that I've had, I mean, I've gone to school literally through some of them kindergarten through grade 16. But there's a big group of guys that I went on a golf trip a couple weeks ago with guys that I bonded very tightly in high school, and we're still that way. And I love them to death. So there's a lot of them to mention, so I won't mention them all. But yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Who else should we spotlight?
So Jason Failer, I think class of '96, also known as my favorite babysitter back in the day. But Jason's got a pretty colorful career in a good way, military, and he just announced he's running for Congress. And I think he would be wonderful to have on. I think the stories that he's created and built for himself, both in the military and out, and I think he would be a great person to represent from a bipartisan standpoint in Congress. So I'd love to hear more about him and what he's been up to.
Well, Scott, it's just such a pleasure to get to know you more than I do and hear more of your story and your background and all that you've got going on. Thank you for being someone that we can spotlight and celebrate here. I can't wait to get your story connected to our students and as well as our Saxon community. So appreciate you, man.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
That does it for our conversation with Scott. Scott, thank you so much for jumping in with us, for the time you gave, for the stories you shared, and for being someone that we can celebrate and champion. Keep doing the great work you're doing out there in the community. Thank you always to Matt Cox at Saucetown Properties, to Saxon Success Fund, and Dr. Corey Bickler at Bickler Dentistry. And thank you all for tuning in. This has been the Always a Saxon podcast. We've got another great one coming for you soon, so stay tuned. Go Saxons.